So, starting things off, this is a D&D 5e story, and we're using the Grimhollow rules in this campaign. Link in the description for more information. Not sponsored, by the way, I just like their stuff, and I'll talk about it more at the end of the video. The players are level 6 at the time, and are in a small town in the lands of the Viridian Shores. In between any of the large towns is a small place called Greyroot. The party has 4 players. Bernard Woundmender Winnigax, a Goliath cleric from the tallest mountain in the lands. A serious, straightforward soul that is somewhat of a stranger to the cultures of civilization off the mountains. Baron William von Creedmoor, what looks to be human wizard that is accustomed to noble life, now on a quest related to family affairs he keeps secret under lock and key. Claire Thompson, a human fighter specializing in dex-based weapons, such as bows and rapiers. She was a revolutionary for a city far away, now a wanderer. And finally, Solomon Hick the Hero, a human cleric with a twisted view on things that uses necromancy to, quote-unquote, give the dead a chance to become heroes. This place has a handful of odd quirks, such as the moon always being a crescent moon here, the mines a few miles south of here having weird happenings, and overall a solemn vibe. The people are quiet and they tend to stick to their duties and just get through the day. As for a lot of the places in these lands, in a grim, dark setting such as Grimhollow, things are generally bleak and spooky, and this town fits that. This was the first town the players were in the campaign. It's where they met, and has somewhat become a base of operations for them, having gained the favor of the mayor for saving some of the citizens, but that's a story for another day. Today's story takes place towards the beginning of the campaign, the party having just gotten its footing as a group, and taken upon the responsibility of dealing with the town's newest problem that has arisen. The fish are gone. They find a note on the board of the tavern written in frantic, scratchy lettering, stating such. Details on the back lead the party to the druid of the town. They find her in a worried state, frazzled and concerned. All the fish in the nearby river have seemingly vanished. There are still a few, but the numbers wildly decreased, and with this the party sets out. They head east to the river. They begin to follow it north. After 30 minutes they find something particular. There was silk upon a fallen tree in the river that glistened more than normal. Considering the cloudy day, it was odd to have caught their eye the way it did. They look further and find that the fallen tree has been converted into a net that spans the whole river, and in its thin, powerful silk, the fish are stuck in it. So they found the effect, but what's the cause? Then they got their second hint. They heard what sounded like a goose in the distance. They approached cautiously. Then, eventually, snap. Claire trips on a line of silk that narrowly avoids a barbed branch that launches down towards her. The party shares shocked expressions, and as the crack of the trap drifts into the woods, they hear it again, however, much louder this time. Followed by cackling. The party gets into a ready position. Then, shortly after, they see a monstrosity before them, a monster from Grimhollow. A giant Gazra, a 7-headed goose beast that is the creation of hag magic, and a foe definitely not to be taken lightly. They look through the woods and see the night hag hiding behind the trees, glaring with a crooked, toothy smile at the party. The party having already had a confrontation on the way here, they weren't even at full capacity. And so, the battle begins. Claire rushes in, the rest of the party being casters. She took upon the role of tank and DPS. Claire fires 2 arrows, boom boom, 2 hits, it's a good start. The Gazra lifts its encompassing wings and launches itself to Claire. The giant Gazra has an interesting setup. It has multi-attack and has 2 options to use those attacks with. 1, making 7 beak attacks, 1 for each of its heads, or 2, making a 1 beak attack and 1 use of the Honk of Doom. It chooses the latter. The Honk of Doom affects creatures of the Gazra's choice within 60 feet. And if they can hear the goose monstrosity, they make a DC 14 wisdom save or become frightened for a minute. They can repeat the save at the end of each of their turns, if succeeding, becoming immune to the effect for 24 hours. The 3 casters are now afraid of the beast, however Claire is unfazed, looking eye to eye to eye to eye to eye to etc. with the towering figure of feathers. The clerics use their Toll of the Dead, chipping away at the health of the Gazra. Creedmoor sends an arc of firebolt into it as well. The hag then launches a flurry of magic missiles into Claire. The hag has innate spellcasting and can cast Detect Magic and Magic Missile at will, then also Plane Shift, only on itself, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Sleep 2 times a day each. Claire grabs the rapier and stabs the Gazra twice, then turns to run. This was a grave mistake. The Gazra has the ability to take a reaction with each of its heads, meaning it proceeds to make 7 opportunity attacks against the poor fighter. And if it wasn't enough, upon running back, Claire triggers another silk trap, and before she knows it, a barbed branch is launched into her. Then the Gazra goes right after her. It closes the gap and proceeds to unleash another volley of attacks. The clerics are hammering away at the Gazra while Kree takes pot shots at the hag. The ensuing magic missiles from the hag down the mighty Claire. The party is in a panic. Their tank is down, and due to her turn being next, they have lost a turn of potential damage in combat. The Gazra flies to the next target and attacks Solomon, wailing into him. Solomon hardens his resolve and casts Blight, a wave of necrosis cascading over the monster. The clerics hold their line, however Claire is too far away to receive healing, and due to the fear the Gazra cannot get closer to do so. Bernard is now having to keep Solomon standing from the barrage at hand. Kree makes a hard choice and uses Life Transference to give Claire 40 HP. Life Transference is a 3rd level spell that does 3d8 damage to the caster and gives double that damage to the target creature within 30 feet. And since Kree was closing the gap by looping around to try to get the hag, he had the availability to get Claire back up. The hag releases a shrill laughter and shrieks.
Get the woman!
The now standing Claire is then immediately put to sleep by the hag. The Gazra whips all 7 of its squawking maws around and then darts over to the unconscious fighter. The fighter is then pummeled by the beaks, all attacks having advantage since she's prone, and even one is a crit, going from 40 down to 4 by the time she gets a chance to get up. The clerics make the save against the fear effect of the Gazra and begin to approach Claire and the rest. Bernard casts Slow on the Gazra. Slow is a powerful spell. It halves an affected creature's speed, decreases their AC by 2, and makes it so it can only attack once per turn, this proving to be quite an effective strategy. Solomon approaches the beast, casting Toll of the Dead. Kree fires another bolt at the hag. The hag uses magic missile and proceeds to take at Kree and downs Claire again. Another turn with Claire unconscious and unable to fight. The Gazra whips back to Solomon and with its single strike, downs the cleric. Solomon is now unconscious and making death saves along with Claire now. Bernard, seeing he is next, gets Claire up once more, now being within range to heal. Kree casts Summon Shadow Spawn upon the hag. The Shadow Spawn swings at the hag, but she's able to narrowly avoid the chilling hands. The hag magic missiles the old wizard while attempting to avoid the shadowy visage behind her. The ticking of magic missile, along with the previous use of life transference, leaving him with only but a little health. Taking a step back and looking at the situation here, we have a goose beast still at a little more than half, about 55 HP, a fighter at 8 HP, a wizard at 7 HP, an unconscious cleric, and another untouched cleric. And then a night hag with just under 100 health, having barely been harmed, with a total of 112. With a new contender at play beside her, a shadow spawn with 35 health. Back to the top of initiative. Claire is up and in a fit of rage. She uses Second Wind and then unleashes 4 arrow attacks with Action Surge. And using the Sharpshooter feat, takes a -5 to her attack roll to get a +10 to the damage if she lands a hit. 3 of them lands, and 1 of them crits. In our campaign we use a rule called Chunky Crits, that makes critical hits feel more weighty. Upon a crit, the first dice are maxed, so for example with a longbow it does 1d8 plus dex, so a crit would do 8 plus dex plus 1d8, and with Sharpshooter that's an additional 10 on top of that. The Gazra is finally looking seriously wounded, and the tides of battle shift. The goose slams into Bernard. Solomon makes another death save. Bernard gets Solomon back up with Healing Word. Kree fires again at the goose, and the Shadow Spawn claws the hag. And the hag fires Magic Missile again at Claire while trying to avoid the Shadow Spawn, but because of the Shadow Spawn's weight of Sorrow's effect that reduces the speed of nearby creatures by 20 feet, she struggles to do so. Solomon, Kree, and Claire within an inch of their life, and Bernard barely in a better, they make an effort to wrap this up. Claire fires 2 more shots into the Gazra, and the Titanic Goose falls. The party celebrates for a moment before a shrill cry emanates from the hag.
My goose! No!
Solomon approaches the hag and again casts Blight, inflicting the first series of damage upon the hag. Bernard takes another turn, healing up Solomon to make sure he's able to withstand another blow. Kree slings more fire, and the hag sends another blast of magic missile at Kree. He still stands, but only holding on by a thread. The cold grasp of the Shadow Spawn chills the hag, its aura slowing the hag's movement by 20 feet. Claire fires 2 shots, one misses and the other one hits with a wallop. Solomon charges the hag and swings with his blade, slicing her arm. Bernard administers more healing, this time to Creedmore. Kree sends another firebolt at the hag, but she evades. Then the hag lets out a nefarious cackle and vanishes. The hag uses their etherealness action to shift to the ethereal plane as long as they have a Hearthstone in their possession. And in this case, the hag does. And just like that, the hag is gone. The party inspects the hut of the hag, and they find a trapdoor in the floor that opens to a massive pit of rotting fish carcasses. And after further searching the small abode, a cauldron with what looks like a half-complete potion and a couple of potions beside it. Later identified as a water-breathing and health potion. And finally, was a pot of gacha eggs, a snack for the hag later. Seeing as the hag was gone and not seeming inclined to pop back into reality just to get bodied, the party returns to town. They tell the druid of the hag and the happening, they have the net destroyed, and after a while the fish population seems to have returned back to normal. And the hag hasn't been spotted since, or at least for now. However, there is much more in store for our adventurers, and fate shall reveal in all due time. Hi, so, to anyone who actually finished this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is my first actual YouTube video that I've made. Like, if you go into my account, you'll see that I have a bunch of projects from back when I was in college and stuff. But I've been watching YouTube recently, and I've been trying to do more art. And I've just gotten really inspired, so I wanted to try something out. So, if you enjoy this at all, let me know, please. Because if this is something people actually like, then I might do it some more. Because this was a lot of fun for me to do, though it took a long time. So, if you'd like, please like and subscribe. Also, I wanted to say thank you for Grimhollow. Grimhollow is awesome. Again, I'm not sponsored. I just super like their content. I reached out to some of the people on their Discord and asked if it was okay for me to do this, and them being the absolutely awesome people that they are, said it's cool as long as I credit them, and of course I'm going to credit them. This whole thing is basically me just talking about how cool their stuff is. So I'll be sure to link their Discord, and where you can get their PDFs, and the GhostFire Games website, and everything else as well. So please go check them out if you like this at all. And yeah, thank you so much, and see you around for the next one.